Look, you guys, this is an urgent warning. This book of Revelations is a riddle that must be solved. The people living in the latter days, the end times, which is the times we're in, must solve this riddle of the book of Revelations in order to live, in order to find deliverance, to find that expectancy. It's not like we always thought. It's not literal when we want it to be, and then riddles when we don't, when it doesn't matter. No. This is all riddles, and we must understand what it's saying. The last video, we read chapter 3 of Revelations. Let me read chapter 4 and 5 to you today and show you this hidden manna that the Messiah talked about in the first couple chapters. This word that would come out at the end. It's being unlocked right now before our eyes. And like right here, I've been saying that when it says that the son, every eye will see the son of Adam, he'll come in on the clouds. I've been saying that that's not literal, that's talking about you seeing the truth of the Lamb, of our true home, the dwelling place, in the Word, coming in the Word. Now, it would be opened up, just like to all the prophets, like when you read about a prophet saying that the Word of the Most High Yahuwah came to him, to Micah, and he seen what the Word was saying at a certain time. That's what's happening right now. That's why it says right here, this proves to you that I wasn't BSing you, that heaven means the truth being found in his word about the second Exodus, us returning to the renewed Jerusalem. It's not coming down out of the sky, because look, it says, which comes down out of the heaven from my mighty Most High and my renewed name. Now, every time it says renewed, that's talking about the renewed Jerusalem, the renewed song of Moses and the Lamb, that the 144,000 that are sealed with the Most High's name on their forehead, and the city who are standing on Mount Zion sing, that only them know. That's not literal. This is the song home. The song is your esteem, your praise in him, and dropping all the rest, and you getting on that highway and coming back to your home and taking your inheritance. His name is the Word, Yahusha, the Word, the Messiah, the truth, the way, the life, the Lamb. The renewed, it's the Lamb is the reason he's called the Lamb. The reason the Lamb is the one worthy to open the scrolls, and we're going to read more about him here in a minute. So much revelation that you've never seen before, that I had never seen before, that I'm seeing now, that's being unlocked to me, that's just groundbreaking. People ain't never heard it before. I guarantee you, I'm going to read it to you here in just a second. But the reason they call him, he's called the Lamb, is because that's the Word. He did what the Lamb did. He went to Jerusalem, and it's the Word that guides you back home. And like I've been saying, all of it guides you back home. All of it's telling you to return to your true home. That's the Lamb. So we know those names. His renewed name is that Word coming home that would happen in the end, the renewed Jerusalem that would come down from his name, his renewed name. And that's the Word being made manifest about your home. So it's not like we thought before. It's not all these Marvel movie type fantasies that the people have had when they thought about how this would all go down. It's not going down like that. It's so simple. It's child's play, but at the same time, the world's having such a hard time dealing with it because they're waiting for some miraculous sign to happen in the sky, but they're missing the big picture. They're missing out on what the Word is telling you, telling everyone. But before we go read chapter 4, let me show you what I seen this morning, and you be the judge. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you think this is a sign or not. So I posted this morning on my YouTube channel. And this popped up in my feed, this random article. It says an 81-year-old man was arrested Thursday in Azusa on suspicion of serial vandalism, accused of using a slingshot to victimize neighbors for nearly a decade. Now, I'm going to tell you about how this went, and this is how it goes, and this is how the Most High gives this stuff to me. If you've been around, you'll know why the 81 significance that is significant. That's the year I was born. I've made a beat called 81. I play it every once in a while in these videos. And there's so much to do with the number 18 and 81 that we've went over. It's huge, and all this stuff that we've dissected. And man, have we dissected it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I was thinking last night, thinking about what Revelation says, and I was thinking, man, I've been exposing the tree of the knowledge of good and evil for like 4 years now, and I went and I watched a video that I made about those who pitched their tent with Molech or something like that, and it's about the tree in the garden. I made that 3 years ago in August of 2021, and even before that, like almost a year before that, I was dissecting a lot of that sort of thing, that like mystery Babylon school stuff that's all related. So it's been about 4 years since I discovered that, since the Most High showed that to me. But before that, in like 2017, I started to make videos and to speak out against Babylon, against the holidays and the names of blasphemy and all this stuff. So it's been about since like 2016, since right after Trump took office, like 2017, 2016, in there somewhere. So it's been, about 8 years, and I was thinking, that it had been, it's like 8 years, and I was going to talk about that, about how, because yesterday in that last video, I mentioned how the Most High told us in His Word that one has to understand that the cedar work has to be exposed. That's why He says that. One has to understand what the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is, and to stay away from it in order to see all this revelation, all this hidden manna, the key of David, the stuff that we've been seeing. This, magnificent, groundbreaking, the truth. The Messiah coming in on the clouds. That's what we've been seeing. But watch this. I seen this 81 this morning. I was going to talk about that. I was going to tell you like how I've went, and I'm going to show you a piece of the video I made back then where the lady talks about that star and that tree, and it'll explain it to you perfectly what the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is. And it'll take a couple minutes of your time to watch it. I'm going to play it for you. But first, I want to read this article to you. It's just like Abba to show me this morning. I was thinking about all that, how I was going to play that for you and show you how the journeys went for me, and maybe explain it to someone a little bit, maybe help someone understand what I'm talking about a little better. But I seen this article said an 81-year-old man was arrested Thursday in Azusa on suspicion of serial vandalism, accused of using a slingshot to victimize neighbors for nearly a decade. Now let's click on this link and read this article. You're never going to believe this, folks. We'll watch this video. Watch this.
Shop the Memorial Day sale at Sherwin-Williams and transform your space with...
One neighbor who didn't want to be identified showed us 2 bags of BBs he's collected from his yard over the years. The person behind the broken windows, unknown for the past 10 years until this week. Azusa police say it was a man who lives on the very same block in this house, Prince King. Investigators call him a serial slingshot shooter. His age, 81. We tried to talk with King, but no one answered at his home this morning. He was arrested and booked into jail yesterday. Police say when they searched his home on Thursday, they found a slingshot and BBs. In just a quick canvass of the neighborhood today, we were able to spot more than half a dozen broken windows. King is due in court on Tuesday. Residents say detectives have asked them to turn in their damage reports before then.
Now, in case you didn't catch that, let me read this article to you. An 81-year-old man was arrested Thursday in Azusa on suspicion of serial vandalism, accused of using a slingshot to victimize neighbors for nearly a decade. The investigation began when the Azusa Police Department learned of a quality of life issue occurring in the 900 block of Enid Avenue, several blocks west of San Gabriel Avenue, according to a new news release. The agency's directed enforcement unit conducted a lengthy investigation and learned that over the course of more than 9 years, dozens of residents were victimized by a serial slingshot shooter, the police statement said. Authorities said the suspect broke windows and windshields and almost struck people with ball bearings. On Thursday, investigators served a search warrant in the neighborhood where the incidents had occurred. The suspect, identified as a Azusa resident, Prince King, was taken into custody. Police said ball bearings and a slingshot were found during a search of King's home, according to the statement. Oh, I just thought that was hilarious. But so 81, he was 81 years old. My birthday is 2/9/81. The 900 block. The only numbers the other numbers they use is 9 years and the 900 block. My birthday's 2/9/81. Slingshot in hand, knocking out windows for nearly a decade. And what's his name? Prince King, baby. Now just real quick for fun. The meaning of Azusa is it's a catalpa tree. As a Japanese name, Azusa means catalpa tree, referring to the beautiful and versatile flowering tree that grows in warm climates like East Asia, North America, and the Caribbean. This lyrical title, may also be connected to the Spanish and Arabic Azuzazina, meaning lily. Yeah, that's what it says. It says lily, doesn't it? Yeah. further elevating its botanical vibe. Yeah, baby. And what does Azusa mean in the Bible? Well, there is no word in there. I searched. I hit it in the search bar in the Bible app, and I couldn't find anything. But it said in Google here, when I clicked on what does it mean in the Bible, it says Azusa was signified by the reenactment of the apostles' experience recorded in Acts 2. It was signified by the baptism of the Holy Spirit, Spirit accompanied by speaking in tongues. The Azusa Street revival came to symbolize early Pentecostals' theological assumptions and especially their eschatological whatever hopes. I ain't even gonna try that one. Their hopes. And what we've been seeing, my friends, my mishpachah, is it's the equivalent of the Holy Spirit, of the Spirit of truth, the Ruach HaKodesh, coming down out of the heaven. And we're speaking language that no one's ever spoke before. Am I doing it right or perfectly? Hey, you can do it just like I can. But this is the message that we're speaking is the message that needs to be spoke, that everyone needs to hear. And you can't argue with the facts. I've been showing you the facts, the proof. And before we read too much of this, or before we read any of this chapter 4 here, let me show you what I'm talking about with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the video I showed that I made back in August of 2021. We seen in that article about the Twin Peaks in the last video, it said it was its 34th anniversary. And I talked about the 43 and the 430 years. Well, there was something else that's in that video that I made back in 2021 that'll shed some light on why they probably used that number 34, why they used that number 34, and they have, like Trump had 34 felonies, and there's the, we didn't know it, but we found out that there's the 34th degree Freemason. We thought the 33rd degree was the highest, but no, the 34th degree, and guess what it is? It's the ancient rite of Memphis Mitzrayim of Egypt. And it's known down south, down in like Tennessee and down in there. We've seen their seal. And man, we've shown so much, haven't we? Watch. What I'm about to show you I was doing in 2021, I've been doing this whole time nonstop. You cannot say I ain't brought the proof. I've brought in a evidence, fact-rich, evidence-rich case to anyone who wants to look of who the image of the beast is, what this word's been telling us that most people miss because they're stuck in literal mode, what the tree in the garden was, what we got to do. Right here you can see it's this video. It says 2 years ago, but it was August 2021. It's titled Warning for Those Who Took Up the Tent of Molech. Right there. I'm on it. Let's watch a few minutes of it.
A statement about this? We are now on the last card in the tarot key that equates to the ethereal and physical form of the twin souls. And this card is number 9, the Hermit. And just as the third eye and crown chakra are connected together at the top of the ancient Egyptian number key, so are the sacrum and root chakras connected at the bottom of this key. Many may wonder why such an ordinary card with little symbolism such as the Hermit card can be attributed to such an important and divine number as 9. However, that lack of symbolism and simplicity is in itself symbolic of what this card is revealing. For the Hermit card is showing that the attainment of the Divine Trinity is an inner and individual journey. The soul is now at the bottom gate, ready to make the ascent back to the top, to be returned to perfect wholeness and be crowned with Christ consciousness. However, this journey of each soul must come through walking the inner path
And see, now this doctrine that this woman's explaining, which is what they all follow, it is about climbing that ladder yourself, becoming divine. That's what that star represents. It represents the combining of man and divine, of climbing the ladder, of reaching the crown, okay, by yourself, on your own accord, or by your own works, not following the Most High. You'll see the lamp to the hermit, who it's Hermeticism, but it's Satan worship, all that, the Kabbalah tree. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and that card, that hermit card, represents that, because it's got that star in the lamp where he holds it. This woman's going to explain it. The 6-pointed star that's on their flag, that's their lamp. That's what lights their path, is them being a big shot. Pride. They operate on pride, which is the fruit of that tree. We're supposed to operate on humility, which is the tree of life, which is following the orders. Watch.
moving beyond each gate by conquering the shadows that keep us bound to the material plane. A soul conquers these shadows of his dark, unconscious nature by having an understanding of himself. And this is done through knowledge seeking and wisdom. Ecclesiastes 7:12. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. The lantern he holds in front of him illuminates his path, and it is symbolic also for the illumination within his own heart. For we see that within the lantern there is a 6-pointed star representing the hexagram. And as we have seen in the previous videos, the hexagram is symbolic for the upper and lower forces meeting at the ethereal heart. We can see the star also aligns with the hermit's heart, and his hand is held above, aligned with the third eye. For as we now know, the truth of ourselves will be revealed to us through the heart and mind working in harmony. So now let us see where the hermit card is connected on the golden mean section. And we see that this is at the number 34. As previously mentioned, this equates to both the sacrum and root chakra on the ancient Egyptian number key. And when we deduce 34, we get 7. So now we have a symbolic connection to the 7 gates that the hermit must traverse to be crowned at the 7th gate as the Divine Trinity. These gates are also known as the 7 heavens, and this is found in many major traditions and mythologies, such as Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and Christianity, as well as in Hermeticism and Gnosticism. And in Abrahamic religions, the throne of God is said to be above the 7th heaven, and this again equates with the crown chakra and Ketha on the Kabbalah tree of life. In the Quran, it states, "See you not how Allah has created the 7 heavens, one above the other, and made the moon a light in their midst, and made the sun a lamp?" This verse is relating to the 7 inner gates to God, and also symbolically represents the male and female twin souls in the sun and the moon.
No, what that actually meant was that the sun and the moon traverse in their orbit. That's what that was getting at. But see how the heavens, even they know that the heavens it's the truth. Gates, doors. That's why the doors to the city are great pearl, a single pearl, right? So they believe that they've leaped over the threshold, like we've been reading. They set up the image of the beast, their own throne. And they're doing it their way, like Burger King, and that's what they've taught the world. The world's doing it whatever way it is. If it don't include coming in and coming out to the throne, you see, that when they hid our true home, where the Most High placed His name, that's an actual spot. And when you go there seeking Him, you got to be humble to do it. Humility will drive you. Reading the word, trembling over the word, and fearing the Most High, and longing to do His will. If His will, His instructions, His Torah is your delight, if following the Lamb is your delight, you will end up at the exact location, the true location of the place He placed His name, Yerushalayim. Okay? And they hid that, and the fact that they hid that, and they know that, and they made their own throne, they call that the not the sorcery stone, but it's something to do with alchemy. I've shown it on here before. We've talked about it so many times. But it's a triangle with a square in the middle of the triangle with a circle in the middle of the square. And it means it's not the sorcerer's stone. It might be the sorcerer's stone. But they believe that's like the fountain of youth, that's like the ultimate alchemist tool or whatever, that they can turn anything into whatever they want. That's what they did with Israel. They turned the Middle East into the Holy Land. You see? And they're trying to jump the gun, the threshold, leap over the threshold. So, but the truth, the Lamb, the Messiah coming down on the clouds from the city coming from His renewed name, that would mean that we would find out that what it means to be washed in the blood of the Lamb, to follow the Lamb. That means to go in and go out, to actually want this deal. That's what that means, to pick up your stake and do this. The appointed times, look at all we've read, you should know. Doing that which is continual, when that's all made right, that's what all our goals, that should be all our goal. Every one of us who say we fear the Most High and we're His children, our goal should be returning to that which is continual now, not later, but now. And the Word tells us that. And we're going to see that right here in Revelations, that's what this riddle is telling you. This book is a riddle, and you must solve it. And I'm telling you right now, the riddle's telling you that the land would be hidden, and that the Chaldeans, that the Babylon would make an image of the beast, and the world would marvel after it. But in the end, we would see the skirt lifted up. The windows would get knocked out with these sling stones, baby. And we would start to see her shame, the nakedness of her shame. Shame of her nakedness, however that goes. And we can turn and now come back to our true home. And there's all the truth, all the proof that you need as to where it is. So let's get this. Watch. After this, I looked and saw a door having been opened in the heaven. See? A door. And the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, "Come up here, and I shall show you what has to take place after this." And immediately I came to be in the Spirit, and saw a throne set in the heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper stone. We know jasper represents the tribe of Benjamin. And it's important. It's key in all this. And understanding what it means, what the new renewed Jerusalem is all about. And a ruby stone in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne, which means deliverance. Safety. In this, we know the end, it's going to be like as the days of Noah. There's going to be another time of destruction. And there's going to be an ark, a place of safety. That's why the rainbow's around the throne, like an emerald appearance. That's why in the Wizard of Oz, it's called the Emerald City, right there. And around the throne were 24 thrones. And notice how the number 24 is used lots of times in this chapter, and I think in other ones in this book. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, dressed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. And out of the throne came lightnings and thunders and voices. See, the lightnings and the thunders are voices. It's the word about the throne. It's what we're reading. I promise you. And you can find that in Enoch and in 2nd Esdras and in the prophets and in Psalms and Proverbs. Everywhere you'll find that that's the case. And Enoch breaks it down, and as plain as day, he tells you that the secret of the voices of the lightning and the thunder is the word that leads you back to the throne. It's the Most High's voice roaring like a lion from his throne, whistling for you to come back to it. Yes, it is. And 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of the Most High. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like crystal, and in the midst of the throne and around the throne were 4 living creatures covered with eyes in front and in back. And the first living creature was like a lion. And we know the lion represents the gate. It represents the home, the throne, Lion's Gate. And the enemy roared as of a lion to convince you that the throne was somewhere else. That's what it's taught. It says that all through his word, that the enemy did that with the image of the beast. But the Most High roars from his throne with the voice of a lion, but it's the truth. It's the renewed name. It's the renewed song about the renewed Jerusalem. It's about us returning a second time, just like it says in Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel and Daniel and Amos and Habakkuk and Haggai and Joel and Job and Zechariah, Zephaniah, Nehemiah, Malachi, Micah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and right here in Revelations, and in other places. Enoch, 2nd Esdras, 29th chapter of Acts. Yes. There's a reason. This is all a riddle, I assure you. He just told us all that, about the creatures having the eyes on the front and back. That's not literal. Don't be thinking of Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. This is a code, and you need to understand it. And we're here to break it down. That's what this channel is all about. This is all esteem. We give all esteem to Yahuwah, the mighty Most High. And we follow his mighty right hand, his word, his instructions. And when you know his word and you get to seeing all this riddle, and he tells you, he says, I speak in riddles over and over again in parables. We know this. It's not literal. The first living creature was like a lion. Second, like a calf. We know the calf jumped from the stalls like a calf to come home. And the third living creature has the face like a man. And the fourth like a flying eagle. What those are about, I'm not so sure, but I'm sure we'll come back to it someday, huh? And the 4 living creatures, each having 6 wings, were covered with eyes around within, and they do not cease day or night, saying, set apart, set apart, set apart, Yahuwah, El Shaddai, who was, who is coming. Now I got information. If you've been reading the word, you should have some information, like I do, about the last part of that right there, okay? About them saying that they do not cease day or night. We know that's before the throne, saying, set apart 3 times is Yahuwah El Shaddai. Shaddai means of the mountaintops. Yes, it does. And when he says who was and who is coming, it says that, something like that, about the image of the beast. It says who was and who is not, yet is. That's the image of the beast, and that's who the world's worshiping right now. The believers. And so many more. And the influence, the impact it's catastrophic. He says it 3 times because we'll be set apart on the 3rd time. The 3rd earth. Timbuk 3. All that, baby. Yeah, the who is and who was, it's Abba, it is the one that is. They're the ones that ain't. Satan, the throne of Satan, the synagogue of Satan. Synagogue. Think about that. These believers think that Russia and China is going to be the war of Magog and Magog, right? Well, just think about the name of their buildings, those people over there. They're called synagogues. That's who it is. It's the false story of the Messiah, Jesus, the one they get all the holidays from. They get the Catholic Church from. It all comes from Jerusalem. It all comes from there. It's all together. It's Babylon. This is a battle between him and them. They're the ones that pretend to be. They say, I am it, and there is none but me, but they're an imposter. It's all a lie. We've read it. We've seen it, haven't we? Yeah. So that last part right there, there's plenty of information packed in that you need to gather, I assure you. And when the living creatures give esteem and respect and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever. The 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and bow before him who lives forever and ever, and they cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Yahuwah, to receive esteem and respect and power, for you have created all, and because of your desire they are and were created. And I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll written inside and on the back, having been sealed with 7 seals. Now, what information have I collected that we can use for verse 1 right there? The scroll written on the inside and on the back. Where have we seen that before? In Zechariah. The flying scroll was written on the inside and on the back. On October 6th, I made a video called Can I Get a Yes Please, where I read the article that was put out on the 5th from one of their Israel's newspapers about the Sassoon Codex landing on this special airplane in this special cockpit. They gave a special ceremony on the tarmac for it when it arrived. And it's like the oldest known scripture, but it's known for its error. And it's the first to ever been written on the front and on the back. It was the sign of the flying scroll. The reason it's named Sassoon Codex, because that man, Siegfried Sassoon, and his partner, this other guy, I can't think of his name right now, they had a printing press back in the 30s and 40s called the Sign of the Flying Scroll, and the printing press of the flying flame, yeah, the flying fame, and the sign of the flying scroll. Yes, they did. I put it on these videos I've showed you. Go back through there and find one that's titled Just a Little Taste, and it's not me talking, it's just a beat with some clips, and you'll see. But there's other videos surrounding that where I showed you about the Sassoon Codex, and it's known that wherever that book has went, whatever town or village it's went to, the town ends up destroyed and demolished, burnt down. Wars happen, death, famine, all kinds of stuff. And that thing landed on the 6th of October of 2023 in Jerusalem. Yes, it did. And they've been waiting for that to happen. That's why it was named the Sassoon Codex. But just like back there, we seen, he said that the Most High is who was, who is, and who is to come. The enemy, the image of the beast, is the one that ain't. It's a battle between them two. Well, they have the scroll known for destruction and error, and it did just like Zechariah said it would do. It said when it would land in the house of the wrong, and it would destroy the house of the wrong, both stones and timbers. Yes, it did. And that's the image of the beast. Well, this is the true word that's in the prophets that he's talking about here in verse 1, in his right hand, because it's in his right hand. That's the mighty right hand, baby. Get it right. Come correct. And it's sealed. It was sealed. If you didn't see this truth about coming home, about what the Lamb is, it's okay. You're just a human. You're not like those guys that think that they're climbing the ladder to divinity. Or are you? Because if you have humility, you'll say, oh, oops, dirt to dirt. I guess I was wrong. Yep, that word was sealed up, and now it's open. The door has been made open. And all I got to do is go through, or am I going to be a stubborn ass hardhead and deny this door because I just want to be right, or I want material things? What's it going to be? If you want to open this word, you're going to have to follow protocol, and the protocol is the Lamb. That's why the Lamb's worthy to open the scroll. Protocol is that you follow the Lamb, and that's the feast days, the appointed times, coming in and coming out, and you'll give anything to do it. And if you can't have it, you'll give your life for it, and your friends, your family. You'll lay your life down for this. The Lamb. This should be everything you want to do. That's what the Messiah, that's why he gave his life, because he laid down the perfect example. Because if he wouldn't have gave his life to do it, then we wouldn't have seen that that should be what we have to do, what we need to do. We should be willing, this should be our lives. This should be all we want to do. And if we have to die to do it, then bring it on, baby. That should be the way we feel about it. Just like the Messiah, the Lamb. And when you see that and understand that that's the desire of the Most High, the will, is for us to come in and come out, to associate with him, to congregate with him, literally, physically, not just in talk, but in deed, in action, in word, actually moving your feet, not just your mouth. That's what the Most High wants, and that's what the Messiah showed us, told us how to do. He told us that that's what we need to do. So when we see that, when we understand that that's what we ought to do, all this word starts opening up, and you start realizing that we've been reading it wrong this whole time because we weren't looking at it like that. And I saw a strong messenger proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and to loosen its seals?" And no one in the heaven or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look at it. And I wept much, and because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll or to look at it. And one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the lion." That's why he's called the lion, because he roars. This is the mighty right hand, the one who came and showed us how to live and go to the throne. He laid down, his voice was the loudest ever of roars from the throne, telling you to come back home. He's the true lion of the tribe of Yehuda, the root of David. That's why, because he sits on the throne of David. He overcame to open the scroll and to loosen its 7 seals, because that's why he had to die, because we had to see that we must be willing to lay it all down, lay it on the line. We must be willing to go all in for this. When we see that, that's how these scrolls are loosened. I assure you, that's what this is talking about. This is all riddles. And I looked and saw in the midst of the throne and on the 4 living creatures, and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing as having been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes. See, you know that's not literal, right? You don't really think that there was a literal lamb with 7 eyes and been slain. No, this is all code, and this, people wouldn't have lost their lives to get this word to you, my friend, if it didn't need to be solved. You can clearly see this is a riddle, and look at all the people who are betting the house on what they think this book says. All kinds of people discuss it. Lives are in the balance. But you can see this is a riddle. Lamb with 7 eyes, which are the seven spirits. He tells you, all you got to do is pay attention, because whenever it's in question, whether it's a riddle or not, he gives you the answer right in the context, within a paragraph, a verse or two. He tells you. See, the seven eyes, which are the seven spirits. Are the seven spirits literally eyes on this lamb before the throne, and this lamb's going to grab this scroll? No, this is code, and you need to break it down and understand. And he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him sitting on the throne. And when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding the harp. That means at the throne. The harp has everything to do with being at the throne, the house of David. And golden bowls filled with incense. The incense is the prayers of the set apart ones. See? And they sang a renewed song, saying, "You are worthy to take the scroll, the Lamb, and to open its seals, because you were slain and have redeemed us to the mighty Most High by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation." The renewed song. Now everyone knows that now the world can see to come home to do this, since he went and was slain, because you were slain and have redeemed us. Now we can see. Now the example's been set. The price was paid in order for us to see that that's what we must do. Not to sit here on our couch and think that he gave his life for you to just say some words, but keep lathering your lips with Babylon every day and get the reward, when the reward's sitting here and you refusing it. You're cheerleading. You ain't even looked at the truth enough to find out about the tree or the image of the beast. None of this stuff. Most people don't even know what it means when he says the Lamb. They don't even have a clue the significance, the power in that word. It's a powerful word. All these words, thunder, lightning, all of it. Just remember the trailer for the Thunderbolts that I played you, where the woman says, talks about the power in that word, in the word thunderbolts. And remember, I told you about the power that's in that word. These people ain't got a clue. And I'm trying to get this message out here. Please help me. If you're hearing this, share this message. Help me get it out there. It needs to be shared. The Lamb was worthy to do this. And made us sovereigns and priests to our mighty Most High, and we shall reign upon the earth. And I looked and heard the voice of many messengers around the throne, and the living creatures and the elders, and the number of them was myriads, and thousands, saying with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb, having been slain, to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and respect and esteem and blessing." Worthy is the Lamb, in order to receive riches and wisdom and strength and respect and esteem and the blessing. We already know, don't we? It's coming in and coming out. Worthy is the Lamb. Yes. It's not just a phrase. It's not just a bumper sticker, you know. This is something you have to do. If you want all that, if you want the blessing, you got to follow the Lamb wherever he leads you. And that's to the true, renewed Yerushalayim. And every creature which is in the heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea and all that are in them, I heard saying, to him sitting on the throne and to the Lamb be the blessing and the respect and the esteem and the might forever and ever. And the 4 living creatures said, absolutely, it shall be done, it is done. And the 24 elders fell down and bowed before him who lives forever and ever. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying, like a sound of thunder. See? Come and see. Come and see. See? That's saying, come to the throne, from the throne. Come to the throne and see. It was the sound of thunder. That's the secret of what the thunder means. When you read it through the prophets, all through the word, when it says lightning and thunder, it's the word The Ruach HaKodesh that's in his word, the truth of it, telling you to come to the throne and see. And I looked and saw a white horse. And this part right here, I can show you how I got this wrong back in the day. All those years. Even during the pandemic. And I looked and saw a white horse. Now, I thought that was talking about these doctors and stuff with this jab, the roll up your sleeves. It's not. The white means righteousness, and it always means righteousness. And don't forget it. This is the Most High's story. This ain't the WHO's. I looked and saw a white horse. So it was a horse of righteousness. And we know the horse isn't literal. This just like in Zechariah, or was it Zephaniah, where we read about the 4 horses, the strong speckled one, the spirit of the Most High that goes out to the earth searching. And he said he caused his spirit to settle in the north in Zechariah. Well, or that might have been Zephaniah, yeah. Well, this horse is of righteousness, so it's a spirit. It's something that's leading, driving, that's a vehicle that righteousness rides in on. That's righteousness coming in, and he who sat on it holding a bow. And we know that the bow, the Most High launches his bow, and that's just like the lightning and the thunder. It's the truth about the throne, and then the enemy, he has his bow, where he launches the fiery darts of lies to deceive. And a crown was given to him. The crown represents you being in Jerusalem, part of the family, the crown. Don't let no one take your crown. That's what that's talking about. And he went out overcoming and to overcome. And I believe that that's what happened, that the truth of righteousness started to come out in like 2017. It was out before that, but like you've seen the surge of this Hebrew Israelite movement, Messianic movement, like in those years, and you've seen this just explosion of people talking about the truth about the flat earth and the dome, all kinds of stuff. Righteousness, doing what's right. And when he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, "Come and see." And it was given to him, and another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was given to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that they should slay one another, and a great sword was given to him. And the red means blood, death, every time. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." And I looked and saw a black horse, and he who sat on it holding a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures saying, "A measure of wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius. And do not harm the oil and the wine." None of that's literal. That has to do with the house, the oil and the wine, the new wine, the oil for your lamp. Keep your lamp trimmed, all that. That's what that means. And when he opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature saying, "Come and see." And I heard and saw a green horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Sheol followed with him. And authority was given to them over 1/4 of the earth to kill with sword, with the word, and with hunger, depriving us from the word, and with death, the opposite direction, and by the beast of the earth, by these institutions, congregations, churches, armies, kingdoms. And when he opened the 5th seal, I saw under the slaughter place the beings of those having been slain for the word of Yahuwah, and for the mighty Most High, and for the witness which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Master, set apart and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth?" And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brothers who would be killed as they were was completed. And I looked when he opened the 6th seal, and saw a great earthquake came to be, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of the heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree as a fig tree drops its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind. Now we know the sun was darkened and the moon turned bright red. Man, I seen one night, I was driving, I was in Illinois, and the moon was so red, it was like a red light. It was redder than that, like a stoplight. It was crazy, and we all seen it. But we know when he says in verse 13, and the stars of the heaven fell to the earth. I assure you, I know we all have the tendency to think, to go back to literal mode and think that he's talking about a meteor shower. But I assure you, my friend, don't let that happen. He's not talking about meteorites. The stars of the heaven are the prophets. The word, where you can find the truth, the Most High's word. In Psalms, all that stuff. The stars of the heaven fell to the earth, and he uses the fig tree because the fig tree represents your home. Yes, it does. They drop its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind. A strong wind. This happened in a sudden. I didn't know this. I didn't know that the Holy Land was an imposter and that I was actually not too far from the real place a few years ago. I had no idea. Now I know. Now it's just happened all of a sudden. The truth came to me like bam. And it's all about coming home, and that's the reason he uses the strong wind. It's the same reason he uses the east wind a lot. When he says the east wind, that's a wink wink letting you know that they would give you the Holy Land, the fake Holy Land over there, the east wind. And heaven departed like a scroll being rolled up. See? And every mountain and island was moved out of its place. Bingo. When that happened, when the truth came down about our home, his renewed name, the Messiah's renewed name, the truth about following the Lamb, the mountains and the islands were moved out of their place. That's what happened. The truth, when that happens to you, you'll realize, oh yeah, this is where that happened. This is where our home is, not over there. I assure you, that's what that means. And the sovereigns of the earth, and the great ones, and the rich ones, and the commanders, and the mighty, and every slave and free one, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains. And that's not literal, but that's what's happening. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him sitting on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Because the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? What he's talking about there, of them going into the caves and saying, fall on us, hide. Nobody would do that. Nobody's going to go in their bunkers and say, oh gosh, the end of the earth's coming, just kill us. They're not going to say that. No, they're saying that right now. The world is. I'm like on their shoulder, tapping on their shoulder, saying, hey, actually, that's the image of the beast. Can I show you all this information I have, please, my friend? Look at this, because that's the image of the beast. Everyone who's over there is going to die. That's killing everybody. Here's our true home. Look over here. And nobody wants to hear it. They receive it. Most people receive it with violence. And the rest all receive it with mocking and scoffing. And it's a laughing matter to them. They don't care nothing about the throne. That's why he says at the end, who is able to stand? And it lets you know which day that is. That's the day that somebody be tapping on your shoulder telling you all this. And that's what's been happening. I have been doing that to you. So that lets you know that that's the great day of his wrath. It's come. It's here. Who is able to stand? Can you turn around and not try to cold cock me and just say, what are you saying? Oh, let me look. Can I look at this with you? Can you do that? Are you able to do that? Because if you're not, you got no humility. You're doing what they were doing. You're just saying, nah, I don't want to have to deal with that. That's too real. Just hide me. Just let me stay over here in my house. Keep going to my church. It'll get better. Even if Russia and them can invade and bomb, they won't come here where I'm at. I'm good. They got a good governor here and National Guard, and I've done good. I pay my taxes. I go to church twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday. I lead the prayer group. I've accepted Jesus into my heart, and I still celebrate all the holidays, all that stuff. All of it. That's them asking for the mountains to fall on them from the face of the one sitting on the throne. They don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. That's what he's talking about. I promise you, I assure you, check the facts. Go read through all the Psalms, Proverbs, and all the prophets over and over again. Suited and booted. Berean style. And you're going to see.